I'm about to blow your fucking minds away. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for a nice little of just craziness? Shit that you've never heard of? You guys ready? I need a little fire emoji. So we talked about Nixon, we talked about the gold standard, but as you know, that's surface level shit. That is just surface level, right? That is just simply a surface level indication of the symptoms and disease, the financial disease that this country is facing. So, 1971, the gold standard is the monetary system of the United States of America. It was issued, when was it issued? It was issued because I know Lincoln tried to introduce a currency that was removed. So we'll just establish it as 1931. The gold standard gets removed. Now the question is, why does the gold standard get removed? Well, the gold standard gets removed for a few reasons. One is the synthetic, keyword, write this down, synthetic market prices and manipulation that resulted in the value of the dollar not going to no gold standard, right? But going to 1/500th of the value that it previously had. So for example, gold was set at a fixed price, right? Gold was set at a fixed price of $500 per ounce. And when they introduced, legislation and all these things to introduce the Federal Reserve, which we know is a privately held institution, right? In 1913, if I'm not mistaken, 1931. Was it 1931 or 1913? I forget. But anyways, this new idea of fiat currency entered the marketplace. It entered the marketplace, and once you understand what fractional reserve banking is, you realize it's not a sustainable methodology. So what happened? Well, we started printing dollars out of thin air, and the United States realized that as the global superpower, they no longer needed, right? They no longer needed something to back it, something legitimate to back it. They were no longer in need for that. Why? Because they were the biggest, most powerful country in the world with the biggest army and probably the most developed technologically, right? And probably one of the few countries that truly had experienced what freedom was, up until, of course, the introduction of the Federal Reserve. So the gold standard was removed by your favorite, okay, President Nixon. And of course, we know all presidents are planted. All presidents are selected, not elected. They are selected individuals. I hope I don't get banned for misinformation, but it's true because it's not misinformation. So it used to be pegged to the gold, no longer pegged to the gold. 1971, Nixon threw his country to the shithole, and now we're in a situation where the reason we use gold as a standard, like President Herbert Hoover said, is because we can't trust government, so we trust gold. Once the government became strong enough, they said, well, I no longer need gold. I can just use what I call my credibility. Let's see if Instagram allows this. I want to share with you guys a photo that I pulled from the bank yesterday. I want to show that to you guys real quick. It might black out for just a second, but bear with me. It looks like it's on my other device. Hang on. I think it's on this phone. Let me check. I'm going to show you guys something crazy so that you guys understand that I'm not full of shit. Hang on. Let me pull it up. Photos. Where is this shit? I posted it on Instagram the other day. Oh, here we go. Let me just pull it up back from IG. You guys probably saw it because if you're here, you probably went through my stories. Who saw what I posted regarding the bank the other day? Did you guys see what I posted regarding the bank? Did you guys see the good faith? I'm about to blow you guys' fucking minds away. Like, you have no idea. Get ready for today's fucking session, boys. I'm gonna go to my archives. Wi-Fi a little bit slow, but not a big deal. Okay, here we go. I found it. I found it, boys. I found it. Bear with me. Every time I try to share something highly valuable, I tend to not be able to find it. Where did I post that on Instagram, guys, or did I post that shit on Twitter? Where did I post that?
It was Instagram.
It was on Twitter?
Instagram.
Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is this photo, bro? I want to post it because, oh, here we go. I found it. GG. Watch this, guys. Okay. So I go to the bank. Okay. I go to the bank and I'm in a situation where, you know, I got a couple $1 million in the bank and all we know is that your money is supposed to be your money, right? We know this. So why, if your money is supposed to be, you know, yours, why is your money backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government? Can somebody tell me who pulls credit? Who pulls credit? Who has a good credit? They just deliberately mentioned the United States government, the federal institution, right, as having full faith and credit. Full faith and credit. That's exactly what your credit score system is, okay? So, my millions of dollars in the bank account are what? Backed by the faith and the credit of the United States government. The question is, credit to who and faith of what? Right? So credit to who? Well, credit to the International Monetary Fund, to the central banks, to the Federal Reserve, to the owners of the Federal Reserve, a credit line to the banks, and a credit line to the House of International Monetary Settlements out of Europe. I believe they're in Switzerland, but I'm not mistaken. Where's the International House of International Settlements? This is the foundation of all international settlements. Guys, so we got 1,500 motherfuckers in here. Let me share with you guys something. What you're about to learn on this channel, what you're about to learn with Luke Belmar, you will not learn anywhere else. The level of information that I share, you will not find on TikTok. I actually do my research at a deeper level. I have developed a pattern for recognizing trends, and it's all based on past price and past action performance. So when you're here, you're getting shit that you're not going to find. And I can promise you that because I'm literally showing to you guys real live what just came out in an article probably about an hour ago. I'm about to show you guys something like that. So we got the WEF is in Switzerland. Well, it's not the World Economic Forum. Isn't it dope that we're like kind of like masterminding here? It's pretty fucking dope. Where is this? Let me find it on Twitter. We're kind of like masterminding here, guys. We're brainstorming together real time. If you guys have any dope sauce, just send it my way. I'm looking for something that I sent Josh regarding the monetary stability of the country, but I need to find it. So if you bear with me 15 seconds, I'll be able to look at the title specifically and share it with you guys real time. And then we're gonna go into the future, because this shit gets creepy. Okay. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? All right, looks like I found it. Okay. Guys, what is this called? Why can I not find this video of this fat fuck that's out here trying to destroy our lives? Let me see if I can find him. I'm gonna look it up on my other Twitter account. I love that everybody's bearing with me. When you guys bear with me, it makes me realize you actually want this shit. So I appreciate it. But at the same time, I'm not a beggar of attention because the shit that I have, holy. Hey, you guys heard of Epstein's Island? Did you guys hear about Epstein's Ranch? Or did that one just go straight over your head? Now you haven't heard of Epstein's Ranch? You should look into it. That was just a little bonus for you. Damn. Wait till we start live streaming, boys. Wait till we start live streaming again. I have been a man on a mission collecting massive amounts of information all over the world to ensure my survival. Why? Well, I'm ensuring my survival because the world's hella fucked. Now what I'm trying to do is figure out where this video is. House of... Let me see. I need to find this shit, bro. Monetary... Let me see.
It's called Bank for International Settlements.
Yeah, so it is. I'm trying to look for a specific video that I want to show you guys. So BIS.org, okay? BIS.org is the future of the monetary system. They just released something a few months ago where the Bank of International Settlements, which is probably one of the biggest banks in the world, BIS, these are the guys that are running trillions of dollars, Forex, all through their markets, crypto, big multi-trillion-dollar loans, things like that. All these settlements are happening through them. They have the future of monetary system already laid out under the private sector, CBDCs being part of the private sector in the public sector. Okay, can you send that to? Can you send me this first one at Luke Belmar? Just click this right here. At Luke Belmar on Twitter. BIS.org, ladies and gentlemen. BIS.org. Are you guys ready to go nerd mode? Are you guys ready to go nerd mode?
I said yeah.
Okay, we're going nerd mode, guys. We're going nerd mode. All right, fuck it. If you guys are here, pen and paper, pull it out. The noobs can fucking leave. The brokies can leave. The rich people can stay here. The people that want to make it out, they can be here. If you're a brokey, please leave. I don't want you here. Okay, BIS.org published July annual economic report, okay? Talks about what do we want from a monetary system, okay? This is the central bank talking about what they want from the monetary system. Now, back in Albania, about 6 weeks ago, I sat down with the governor of the Central Bank of Albania, last name Fulani. He's the guy that signs the money in Albania, approves it. So I sat down with him. We had a one-on-one. I brought him in to speak to Capital Club. This guy signs the money, right? This guy signs the money that the country spends. And I asked him a few specific questions. I asked him about crypto. I asked him about Bitcoin. I asked him the condition of the Federal Reserve. I asked him about JP Morgan. What was the final question I asked him? I asked him 3 questions.
Bitcoin was money.
And I asked him if the central banks run the world.
Yeah.
And what was the 3rd question? Oh, I asked him about Agenda 2030. I asked the head of the central bank of Albania about the Great Reset. So, ladies and gentlemen, shall we talk? Shall we talk? Okay. So, BIS.org, right, this is being read. This isn't me assuming. This is me reading to you guys straight from their website. The monetary system is the set of institutions and arrangements that support monetary exchange. It consists of money and payment systems, which is required from such a payment system to serve society. Well, there is no canonical list of necessary features, but a list of high-level goals must stand out. Why? Why are they putting out this article? They're putting out this article because of central bank digital currencies. And I am going to introduce what I believe is going to be a massive disruption to the future monetary system of the United States, potentially even ending the financial reign of America. I'm like 80% certain here. That's how serious I am. So, to ensure the safety and stability, guys, mind you, what I'm reading you right now is word for word what the Bank of International Settlements has put out. 1, to ensure the safety and stability of the system, money needs to fulfill 3 actions. These are the 3 things that money consists of. And this is the same thing the governor of the Central Bank of Albania told me, because they all are under the same teachings. All of them. They're all globalists. Which is fine, right? Like, if you want to be a globalist, that's your thing. Like, I'm not here to fight trillionaires, you know what I mean? I'm just here to make sure everybody's aware of the reality of the situation. Then you can act accordingly. To ensure the safety and stability of the system, money needs to fulfill 3 actions. 1, it needs to be a store of value. 2, it needs to be a unit of accounting. And 3, it needs to be a medium of exchange. Where the monetary system relies on key nodes and entities, whether public or private, they need to be accountable through specific mandates from public authorities and through proper regulation and supervision for private entities. The monetary system should be efficient, enabling proper regulation and supervision for private entities. That's what we said. The monetary system should be efficient, enabling reliable, fast payments to support economic transactions both at scale and also at low cost. Access to basic payment services at affordable prices, in particular transaction accounts, should be universal to spread the benefits of economic activity, promoting financial inclusion. Not least, the system must protect privacy as a fundamental right and provide user control over financial data. The keyword. Integrity of the system must be protected by guarding against illicit, not illegal, illicit activities such as money laundering, financing of terrorism, and fraud. They use those 3 examples because they always try to use the most extreme examples. They can't use guarding against, your bank, the money in your bank actually not being insured, right? If you have cash today, you're in a situation where the government asks you, well, why do you have cash? What the fuck are you doing with cash? Why is your money not in the bank? That's sketchy. But your money isn't insured. Well, it is insured. It is FDIC insured by the full faith of the United States government, up to $250,000 per bank account. So if you have $1 million in the bank account, the bank goes bust because they take your money and they loan it through fractional reserve banking, and then they can't put it back in, they over leverage. You end up losing $750,000 because the government is insured $250,000. Those $250,000 will most likely be printed, and it'll dilute the value of that money even more. So having money in the banks, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because there's a lot of great things that come from the banking institutions, right? The people that run the systems, like, there are loopholes for a reason. But then on the other side, it's shit. And the reason it's shit is because it is a centralized, controlled, private organization that is moving this money. So 1971 rolls around, the United States pulls the money away from the gold standard. What do they peg it up against now? Oh, I'm sober. Somebody says it looks sober. Dude, I'm super sober. What you're seeing is just bloodshot eyes from constant travel and unlimited hustle. So we're in a situation right now where in 1971, gold standard removed. Now, what is the standard? What is the standard, ladies and gentlemen? What is the standard? Bingo. Somebody said oil. Oil is the new standard. Now, it's not legitimately the new standard. It is privately agreed upon as the new standard. Somebody said he's high. He's like, dude, I ain't high. I just think it's such a fucking G level. It's unbelievable. So what you're seeing me do right now is actually think in real time. The United States government, Nixon specifically, goes and interacts with the Saudi family, right? the families, like the royal family in Saudi Arabia, and they say, well, in return for protecting you and keeping your kingdom intact, you have to sell all of your oil in dollars. Right? So now every country that wants to buy oil from the Arabs, right, from the Middle East, they have to do so using dollars. Therefore, increasing not the value of the dollar, but the demand for the dollar. What value does the British pound have, guys? What value does the euro have? Zero. Nothing. That's why you see it cratering to nothing. The US dollar was stabilized by the demand introduced by oil. Why do you think there's such a big fight against oil? It's because it's a fight also against the financial stronghold of America, which is fine. Like, we're going to see this throughout history, right? We're going to be in a situation where America is the greatest country today, and in 50 years, it most likely will not be. It probably will not be. That's why you got maybe 5 years to get out, 4 years. I give it to like 2028, guys, 2028. And then I think they introduce a new monetary system. So a few things that and maybe I released, because I recorded the 1.5 hour long interview or conversation that I had with the governor of the central bank. Remind you, he signs the money. This guy understands how the system works. And I asked him one question. I said, will central bank digital currencies exist? And he said, without a doubt, central bank digital currencies are impossible to live without. And the reason he said this, and he said it from a very religious perspective, shout out Chase Hero. He said this from a very religious perspective, which was interesting to me. It wasn't even a greedy perspective. He actually believed it, which is concerning to me. He said, the Federal Reserve and the central banks should be private institutions completely and unanimously separated from the public. What does this mean? This means that now all money is privately owned and no longer operates as money, but operates now as a coupon code or a voucher that legitimizes your purchase, right? So a central bank digital currency that is based off of nothing, that is controlled fully and printed autonomously, not by the permission of Congress like the Federal Reserve, but by the bank. This reminds me very much to the situation that Abraham Lincoln was going through during the Civil War, where there was a lot of banks, there was a lot of currencies, armies needed to get paid, but there were so many different currencies and the value of those currencies were all over the place that that this idea of multiple banks owning their own currency and deploying that wasn't realistic. Why? Because even back then, these motherfuckers were stealing money and fractionalizing shit. Like these guys were fractionalizing notes before fractionalized banking was even real. Like before it was a concept, these guys were like, okay, like somebody deposits 10, I'm gonna pull 3. Like these guys were doing that shit. So Abraham Lincoln tries to introduce a new currency. You guys didn't know this, of course, you don't know this. So I'm sharing it with you guys. I'm about to blow your fucking minds. We're just getting started, by the way. We're going from everything everybody knows to the shit that nobody knows, that I'm about to just blow your mind to like a complete new level. Abraham Lincoln tries to introduce a currency. I think it's like the green bill notes or something like this. And he successfully does. And he pays, okay? He pays his army. He pays his soldiers because they need to get compensated, they need to eat. A couple months later, he gets killed. A couple months later, he gets murked. That money gets pulled out of circulation, okay? And obviously, we never hear from it again. Interesting enough, Another president attempted, okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect. So Abraham Lincoln tries to introduce a currency. It fails because he gets capped. The greenback currency, which is the name of the notes that he had, were basically introduced, paid off some people, and then another cheeky motherfucker whose head was blown up, sitting in the back of a car, known as Kennedy. Kennedy introduced the Executive Order 11110. And this currency the Treasury was backing up this currency with silver. So in June of 1963, this executive order allows the Treasury of the United States to issue certificates legitimizing the treasury of silver that they had. Within 6 months, he's dead. And the $3 or $4 billion of silver-backed currency was pulled out from circulation. Oh, we haven't even started yet, guys, by the way. Like, this is just, we're just warming up here. Welcome to the revolution. I know I'm blowing you guys' minds away. I know it's like a lot to process, but we're just getting started. Okay? So motherfuckers try to pull the gold standard because of course you can't trust government. Then Kennedy says, maybe we introduce silver. We have some executive order that we allow to finesse. Within 6 months, he's dead. Capped, like super capped. And the best part is that a few months later, to commemorate his death, they mint silver coins with his head on it. So, when you have this level of power, all us individuals, what we can do is just observe. You ain't gonna fucking fight it. Let's just be honest. What you can do is capitalize on it. Guys, I'm not here to fight BlackRock. I'm not here to fight trillions of dollars. And it's just not. I ain't a dumb motherfucker, bro. I ain't trying to get capped like Kennedy. Like, why would I do that? What did he accomplish? Nothing. Like, he tried to finesse and he got finessed. So, yeah, just look up the silver standard, Executive Order 11110. And this was basically to revoke Reagan's order, Executive Order 12608, I believe it is. I believe that's what it was. No. What was it? Ronald Reagan submits an executive order to appeal the 1110 and reintroduce the Federal Reserve systems to distribute and exchange currency again around the world. Okay, perfect. So I'm just trying to get my my law and my terms, everything in my head right. That's why a lot of these lawyers and all these people are rich, because they understand the system. So I showed you guys a face today. I showed you guys this guy's face on Instagram story. You guys see this guy? Okay, so that guy right there, who knows who that guy is? Who knows who that guy is? Who knows who the Saudi Crown Prince bin Salman is? Does anybody know who the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia is? Okay, so the Prince of Saudi Arabia, 2 years ago, or 3 years, 3 years ago, comes in and says, fuck all these royals. Puts them all in the Ritz-Carlton, I believe it is, imprisoned, or like house jail. Says, I'm taking over this shit. So he does deals with Trump, very interesting deals. He does very few deals with Biden. And in fact, an alliance has been forming in the background. As the Saudis realize that the US is no longer the bully that can protect them from going and bombing Syria and having no repercussions or doing all the craziness that they do. Well, a ton of people do craziness. You guys are just exempt. A partnership has been forming in the background. In the background, something called Brics is forming. Brics. That's an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, they're about to introduce the Middle East. And what is the proposition of the Middle East? Well, that if Brics ends up forming and joining an alliance, right, and Saudi Arabians end up joining Brics, we're going to be in a situation where the gold is no longer the petrodollar. The dollar, is no longer the petrodollar, because the Saudis are now allowing other countries to purchase oil using different currencies. This idea of we'll give you oil and we'll sell it in US dollars in exchange for security is no longer a valid argument for the Saudis. Why? Because they got China, they got India, one of the probably biggest superpowers that's going to come up in the next 100 years. Shout out to India. You guys are about to fucking crush it. If you guys are in the India market, I would not leave. I'd build that shit. And they got Russia. China, Russia, and India. All these three motherfuckers have just formed an alliance. Okay? And guess who's not in it? Guess who's not in it? The United States of America. So, where do we go from here? Well, now we know that there is a conspiracy, and a very legitimate one as well, of destabilizing the US dollar. That is why what you are witnessing in real time is the destruction of the current, not the current dollar, but the current financial infrastructure of the world. The current financial infrastructure of the world is based off of capitalism, all right? Now, all the billionaires, and I sent this out to, and I sent the link out to the people that attended the pop-up in Amsterdam. It's a specific 1-hour documentary or interview between some of the most elite individuals in banking. Are you guys ready for that? This was pretty heavy duty. You guys ready? All right. They have this philosophy that the government should not be in charge. They also have a philosophy that the private sector should not be in charge. Why? Well, the private sector doesn't have necessarily the people's best interest in mind, and the public sector is too unoptimized and too slow. When asked the question, you had Larry Fink from BlackRock, you had Ray Dalio from from Bridgewater, you had Blackstone, you had Goldman Sachs, you had Bank Santander, all of them there. And then the panel asked, would you guys pay more taxes? What do you think was the answer? Well, we would pay more taxes if it was more efficient and if it made sense. In essence, what they're translating is we're not going to pay more taxes till we control where those taxes, or we're not going to pay more taxes till we control where that money goes. So what you're about to see now, over the next 10 years, record this, mark me verbatim as the prophet of the millennials. You guys ready? Mark this down. we will enter what I like to call, and I don't know if I've coined it or not, but maybe I have, techno-feudalism. Is that a real term? If not, I'm gonna coin that shit right now, because I just thought about it. Who's familiar with feudalism? Okay, so there's such a thing as techno-feudalism. But I don't refer it so much as techno-feudalism as technological companies taking over. But techno-feudalism, if you guys understand what feudalism was this idea where the governor or the emperor or the monarch owned a few things. Owned the land, owned the means of production, owned, what else did they own? They owned the workers, they owned the crops, and then of course they had the territory. So, Larry Fink, they're all in it together, bro. All these motherfuckers are in it together. I feel like eventually I'm gonna get banned, cause like, you know, these guys will just see my video randomly on TikTok one day. Their daughters are scrolling or some shit, and they hear this dude on TikTok talking about how their dad is about to take over the world, and he just has to send out one message and I'll be gone with the internet, right? So feudalism back in the day was this idea where very wealthy individuals would basically become private monarchs, where they would own their land, own their institutions, just like Bill Gates, biggest land owner in America, not by coincidence, focuses on being the lenders and buyers of last resort, which basically means they are in charge of everything at all times. So they control the crops, they control the monetary system, they're in charge. This is what the elites want to reintroduce into the financial system. And the only way that they can do it is through central bank digital currencies. I've actually just found a Reddit thread from 2016 that says capitalism to be replaced by techno-feudalism. The fuck, 2016? Well, I am curious. Shall I read it, guys? Damn, this is actually pretty fire. 6 years ago. Do you guys want me to read this Reddit forum? Futurology. Shit. All right, well, I'm going to read this because it's no longer a speculation. It was put out 6 years ago. Let's read it right now. Capitalism to be replaced by techno-feudalism. Techno-technology feudalism. This idea of feudal lords being in charge of private and public sectors altogether. This is what they want. Guys, this is what they want. Capitalism is good at financing projects. What we've been seeing, right? The financing of the world, right? When you look at J.P. Morgan, right? When you look at Rockefeller, when you look at these big tycoons in America that build the railroads, that built all the oil refinery systems in America, the question is, who lent them the money to finance that project? So who financed J.P. Morgan? Who financed Rockefeller? Too deep? Oh no, well they're just self-funded. They ain't self-funded, bro. Selected. Capitalism is good at financing projects, but it is so 18th century, and I think its model won't be sufficient to support technology, which has made labor obsolete, and soon will make land obsolete, as well as only capital as well. And only capital will remain. I disagree with that point. I think land is still valuable. Capital will make most of humanity irrelevant, and only owners of capital, remember he didn't say money, he said capital, will be allowed to partake in the exponential growth which would be enjoyed by less than 50 million people. Their servants, hangers, etc. will be allowed to smell it. So here they're talking about this idea of, and most jobs are automated. About 95% of humanity population will have no jobs and no income. That makes a lot of sense. In the next 20 years, you will not see an employee at McDonald's. It's just not realistic. Why would you have somebody with a bad bullshit attitude that clocks in late and smells bad coming into your job when you can just have a fucking robot? Yeah, I'll pay LTV 3x what that salary is to get a robot of that individual. Hell, I'll pay 10 times As long as I don't have to deal with people, this is the mindset, right? Today's class division and wealth disparity will be permanent. It will make the 1910s look like an egalitarian society. With no more mass consumption, today's capitalist model will probably change, since those who own the means of production will start to think that paying interest to the banks and other financial institutions will be a waste of money. At some point, I think these tech lords or these tech individuals will decide to opt out of the banking system and eventually from governments to avoid having to support the billions of people that no longer are relevant in the economy. Or they would just literally take over the government and de-establish things they don't like. With all resources now controlled by the techno-feudal lords, who no longer have to deal with taxes, interest, employment regulations, and any kind of restrictions, all resources will be concentrated on developing their technology, and the feudal lords, the techno-feudal lords, would be attacking stars within this century. So, aka, you guys are fucked. So how do you get out? You have to get fucking smart, dude. That's it. Like, if you guys think that I just come here and I just wing things out of my ass, and the reason I'm talking to you is because I have free time or some shit, you're sadly mistaken. The reason I'm talking to a lot of you guys is because most of you guys will not exist in this new world that's being created, because you will be subjugated, controlled, destroyed, and smashed to a pulp. There's 1,600, 1,700 people in here. 1,700 can make it out, but not make it out of the matrix. So you can make it out of the ecosystem in such a way where you can master it, okay? And you can not be enslaved. Now, most of you guys are slaves because 2 years ago they said that you had to wear something on your face. The moment you didn't wear it on your face, you couldn't travel. And if you didn't take a certain something, which now we know by all the data coming out that is clearly not working. And now, on top of that, which is today's hearing, today's Congress hearing, ladies and gentlemen. Who's familiar with today's Congress hearing? Who's familiar, ladies and gentlemen, with today's verdict? Are you guys familiar with today's verdict? What's happening today? Are you guys familiar with that? Crazy. So now what they're trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, is they are trying to introduce the COVID-19 jab into the list of required childhood jabs in order for them to go to school. I love how I'm reading all these articles that are just like shitting on what I just said, and I'm looking at their evidence, and their evidence doesn't really back anything up except saying, well, it's a possibility. You never know till they do it. Yeah, so the CDC is going to be pushing for that. Why? Because it's money, bro. Because it's money. That's why. Imagine every person in all of America was your customer every 6 months. Do you even know the deals that Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson have with the government? Do you think they just hand it out? Do you think there's no contracts? So they're going to control your money, they control your body, they control your children. If you misbehave, they take your children, they take your money, they take your ability to operate. So what do we do? Well, what we do is we have to get educated, we have to get rich, and we have to do it fast. We have to get educated on how the world works, where it's going, who's in charge, and we have to get rich because it requires, money is simply energy. We require energy in order to move. So money moves mountains, but education lets you know where to move them to. So it's a dual-sided perspective, and I see a lot of you guys making the same decisions and the same mistakes that you've been making over the last couple of years, and like you don't seem to understand that there's a ticking time bomb. Like it doesn't seem to register when you wake up in the morning that shit is fucked. Over the last hour, I've explained to you how 2 presidents have tried to establish a currency in the last 100 years, both been capped. I've shared with you how there are foreign powers trying to delegitimize the little credibility that the US dollar has left. And I've explained to you this idea of the rich wanting to establish a technocratic, feudalistic world where it's kind of psychotic, dude. And Ray Dalio, all these guys are all in it together. And they will do it through a system of carbon credits. Through a system of carbon credits. This carbon credit system will be the new way of siphoning money out of us. Just like income tax, because income tax is illegal, we know this. Income tax was established the same year that the Fed was established in order to collect the tax for the Fed, which, by the way, tax is simply interest. Who knows how much the US paid in interest over the last 12 months to institutions? By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you voted for Biden reintroduced the United States into the Paris Accord Agreement, which is trying to pull carbon credits from everybody. Guys, when we go down the carbon credit and all this stuff, like you'll realize, like these guys are straight like engineering bullshit and just putting it on the market. Here's the thing, like I hate it because I'm a victim to it, but it's pretty genius, dude. Like it's pretty genius that you can convince. There has to be more than 7 billion people. Maybe. No, they lie. So there probably isn't 7 billion people. You can't really account for how many people there are. But they can't manage everybody, dude. This current system is a Ponzi scheme system. And this system is designed specifically to pull everything away from you. Everything. And give it to who? Them. Why? I don't know, bro. I don't know why motherfuckers need $1 trillion. Don't ask me. It's probably some egomaniac, demonic trip shit. I don't know, dude. I can't tell you. There's no justification for it, but it exists, and that's just the reality of the situation. So, my hope for you on this Wednesday, as I wrap up, because I'm going to go to the gym in 4 minutes, and so should you, is have a nice long look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I going to continue self-sabotaging my way to freedom? Or am I going to grow a pair of fucking nuts, realize that nobody's in here to save me, and that I need to form alliances, form a plan of education and a plan of action to get rich, to be safe, and to be able to extract as many people as possible from the system. Now, the system doesn't want everybody, right? Like the system doesn't want Luke Belmar because Luke Belmar is not productive to the system. Now, I am in some way, shape, or form productive because I spend a lot of money, I circulate, all these things. But they don't care. They don't care if 1,700 glitches in the Matrix just pick up one day and just dip with $20 million each. Like, they don't give a fuck, dude. As long as you don't ruin their big plans, they don't care. So the game plan right now is how do I get 1,700 motherfuckers to be worth 20 million? Like, that's it. Like, you guys aren't going to be billionaires. You understand that? Like, I need you guys to understand that because you don't have what it takes to be a billionaire, nor would they let you be a billionaire because you would have to do some crazy shit in order to get there. So A lot of you guys are like, oh, I'm going to be a billionaire. You probably aren't even millionaires. So we'll talk about that step when we get there. My point is, I wanted to come here and tell you guys, Brics is taking place. CBDC's taking place, and we know it. This idea of attacking the dollar has been futile, right? So people being like, oh, the dollar's going to zero. Dollar ain't going to zero, bro. Dollar ain't going to zero. The dollar will become a central bank digital currency and it will reinvent itself. Homework. All right, let's talk homework. A few things. One, I need you guys to study the creation of the euro. Study the creation of the euro. 2, study the creation of Bitcoin. And you'll most likely realize Bitcoin is now an infiltrated asset that is fully controlled. Bitcoin is not legitimate. Bitcoin is not free. People have been talking about literally the word cryptocurrency since the 90s. But it doesn't mean we can't get rich off of it. But I think Bitcoin, just like every currency, will eventually go to zero. And Bitcoin is currency. Like Bitcoin is money by the definition of money. So please do those 3 things. I need you to study that. And hopefully you record this shit because I will not be repeating myself. For all my high-level entrepreneurs, middle of December, we're hosting an elite mastermind in Phuket. I want you there. It's only 12 spots available. I'm not in the business of appealing to the masses. I'm in the business of finding killers. I don't need 1 million people. Just give me 300 motherfuckers, bro. Just give me 300 dudes that are all in, and I can take over. Like, that's it. Like, I don't need any more. So middle of December, we're hosting the Second Capital Club, first ever Asia mastermind. It's a private mastermind. If you guys are interested, I'll have details coming out next week. You'll find out about it later. Ladies and gentlemen, I need you to study Brics. I need you to study the origin, okay, of the euro. The origin of the euro. What else can I give you guys to study? Let me give you guys one more. Oh, let me give you guys the book pick for the day. 1 second. Let's see what we got here. I'll give you guys the book recommendation for the day. Oh, here. Right here, perfect. This is a perfect book. If you want to talk about a dude that finessed billions of dollars out of the market and was doing 8 and 9 figure deals with Warren Buffett by the age he was 27, then remember, that's how they view it. One man standing, last man standing. That's how they see this shit. So, Brics is B-R-I-C-S. B-R-I-C-S. Brics. It's an acronym. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day. I love you guys. I hope this was of value to you as much as it was to me to share it with you guys. I apologize for my my tired face, but you guys know how we do it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Tune in. Don't be late. And get to fucking work, baby. 365 days. That's all I need. Give me 365 days. Full beast mode. Full beast mode. Love you. Peace.